Let's go ahead and go to the mountain back layer. That'll be the backmost part of the mountain. Let's select the mountain knife for this. And we can pick kind of a medium darkish blue color like this. Let's make our brush pretty big. And you want to paint with the edge of your brush, so just kind of ignore the cursor. That'll make a nice craggly edge. And you may need to go over it a few times to really fill it in. Make sure the center is all filled in. You want it to be nice and opaque. You can make your brush a little bit smaller, and then you can get in tighter and really clean up the edge. And you can add more little lumps and cracks and crevices and things like that if you like. The mountain that we painted earlier is on the mountain back layer, so we want to add in the mid mountain and the front mountain. Let's do the front first. Let's go ahead and sample this dark blue color that we're using for our shadows. Let's make it a little bit darker and shift the hue a little bit towards indigo. And we'll have a peak that's kind of coming up here like this. If you want to refer to your sketch, you can. I'm just going to kind of make it up here as I go along. And then let's go to the mountain mid layer. Let's make that color a little bit lighter. Let's put in a little ridge that goes up here. And let's say that we want this peak to kind of separate right about here. So our shadow will be on the right side and our highlights will be over here on the left. Now I'm kind of just tapping and doing short little tap strokes. You want to kind of follow the angles of your mountain. So this highlight side is kind of sloping down and to the left. Let's make this color a little more gray and put in some of that. But you want to keep a little bit of these shadow areas for now. That'll make it look like little crevices. But anywhere where you have kind of a bulge sticking up, you're going to want to put a highlight kind of on one side of it. Let's make that color a tiny bit darker. And let's move forward to the next layer. So we'll want to go to the mountain mid layer, make a selection of that using select layer content, hide the selection using Control-Shift-H, create a new layer, call it mountain mid highlight, and go ahead and paint in. This time I'm going to use a smaller brush, and maybe the sun is kind of at an angle here, so it's just going to kind of catch the edge of this particular ridge here. It's hitting more of this back mountain and then less of this one. Now we're going to want to do a little bit of blending. Let's go to the mountain front layer. Let's go ahead and select the grainy speckled drip smear. And let's zoom into the mountain here. You want to make kind of a smaller brush and just kind of tap here and there. This is going to make little speckled areas. Just adds a little bit of variety here to your mountain. Be careful not to paint too close to the edges of your layer. Let's go to the mountain mid layer. I really like these blenders because they're using the new dynamic speckle technology to blend, along with the enhanced layer blending. I'm going to go ahead and blend the mountain back layer as well. And you're welcome to experiment with some of the other blenders like the grainy drip and speckled drip. I'm going to go back to the mountain front layer, pick a slightly darker shadow color. And just darken up things a little bit more. So you can see it's really kind of a back and forth process of adding detail. I try to make it as linear as possible so that it's easy to follow, but sometimes this is just how you have to do it. I'm going to go back to the mountain back layer. Just add in some little cracks and things over here. Then back to the mountain front layer. We can also deform the mountain and reshape it with Distorto. If you want to push and pull it into different shapes. You could also use bulge if you want to kind of inflate it. You can use pinch if you want to squeeze it together.